Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us again. We are about to dive into hurt at a friend's house. Do you need to sue? This is a touchy subject, obviously. Nobody likes to sue their friend. But the thing that I tell my clients all the time, if you don't sue your friend doesn't get paid by their insurance company. The insurance company gets off at a discount. So really, you're doing State Farm a favor by not suing your friend instead of actually doing your friend a favor. So before I dive into this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, follow along on this journey where I'm going to dive deep into different areas of the law and make sure that you understand exactly what's going on with your future personal injury case so that you don't get totally screwed by an insurance company one day. Hurt at a friend's house. Do you need to sue? What does the steps look like? This is not necessarily an easy subject to talk about. You know, nobody likes to sue their friend. The thing that is most important about these kind of situations is to just be objective about it. Are you doing yourself a favor by not suing your friend? Are you doing your friend a favor by not suing your friend? If the answer to both of those questions is no, then the answer is pretty clear. You should get a free consultation from an injury lawyer because they're going to just explain whether you have a case or not very quickly. It doesn't cost you a dime to get that opinion. Let's say that your friend has a basketball court and you are playing basketball on your friend's court. And while you're running on the court, there's a rusty nail that goes up through the wood of that court. You step on that nail goes into your foot, and it ruptures a tendon in your foot. Your friend didn't mean to do that, obviously. But you didn't mean to do that. And if you really are hurt as bad as this kind of injury can lead to, you're gonna probably need either some sort of medical treatment, you might even need surgery to repair that tendon, and it's nobody's fault. Like, in terms of no one intended for you to get hurt. By the way of a jury, though, it's your friend's fault why that happened to you. But really what it comes down to, how does this work? The way that it works isn't obvious when the trial is going on. At trial, you are not allowed to say the word insurance. It's a rule of evidence. So when you go to trial, you're not allowed to say to the jury as a lawyer, you guys don't need to worry about, Jimmy paying for this because his insurance company is going to cover it. He's got it. Don't worry about Jimmy having to pay for this out of pocket. You don't get that benefit. There are certain rules called the rules of evidence that prevent the jury from knowing certain things. And it is a little bit of an unfair rule, in my opinion, that you can't talk about the fact that it's actually an insurance company paying for the settlement, court costs, lawyer, and everything for that defendant. But that's the reality. So how does this work? When your friend, let's say that rusty nail example, you stepped on a nail, you ruptured something in your foot, and you got pretty hurt. You're now going to need surgery. So who's going to pay for those medical bills? Who's going to pay for your pain and suffering? Answer 1, the insurance company. Answer 2, the insurance company. Your friend doesn't fall into that equation. Rusty nail example, you would have to prove this to the jury if this were to go all the way to a jury. Number 1, who's at fault? And let's say that your friend was warned by a carpenter 2 weeks earlier who was there building the basketball court. Hey, you might want to file down that one nail on the court, but the rest of the court is good. And they said, okay, whatever, no problem. And they don't do it. Let's say that evidence was put in front of the jury. Let's say that it even wasn't. Either way, the jury has 2 questions to answer on that case. Question 1, liability. Who is at fault? If they find that the person who owns the house is at fault, then question 2 comes into play. How much is your pain and suffering worth in a dollar figure? What is that pain and suffering worth? I don't know. Some people might say that surgery on your foot is worth, $100. Some people might say it's worth $1 million. It's totally a crapshoot what your case is worth, but the way that it works is that the jury would pay you what they think is worth in terms of your pain and suffering. The actual medical bills, though, are likely covered by something called MedPay, M-E-D-P-A-Y, MedPay. MedPay is something that all insurance policies for locations like your friend's house at a residential location or a commercial location have to pay people who get hurt on their property. It's literally a part of the policy. So don't feel bad, 1, getting treatment, 2, getting the treatment you need, and 3, making a claim for this med pay because it's there to pay for this stuff. If you don't ask for it, the insurance company's not going to call you up and say, hey, you want your $5,000 of med pay for that surgery? No, you got to hire somebody to make sure you get that. And that person you hire is someone like me, a personal injury lawyer. Insurance companies are just not out to do you any favors. Do you know why that they can actually afford a Super Bowl ad? Do you know why Patrick Mahomes is the #1 rep for State Farm? Because they save a pretty good amount of money by not paying people who are hurt when they deserve it. In terms of how this works, you are not suing your friend. Let me repeat, you are not suing your friend. You're not suing your friend's parents. You're not suing your friend's grandparents. You're not suing the owner of the home. You are naming them as a part of the lawsuit to get access to their insurance. It does feel like you're suing them, but you are not. You are suing their insurance company. There are 2 types of court systems: civil, criminal. Having a civil lawsuit filed against you is not that big of a deal. You have insurance for that situation. People buy insurance for when they are at fault, not when they're not at fault. When they're not at fault, insurance companies don't give a shit about you. They want you to never call them. They want you to never ask for money. They're never going to remind you that they owe you something. So how does this work? You get yourself the treatment you need. You make a claim for med pay. You hire a lawyer to get you compensated for your pain and suffering. I hope that you are never going through something where you're hurt and it was one of your friend's fault or your friend's parents' fault. But if you are, it is totally okay to just make a call to a personal injury lawyer and get a free consultation. Click that subscribe button below, follow along, and I'll make sure that you understand how to protect yourself, most importantly, from being hurt in a way that you shouldn't be, and how to protect your personal injury case. So thanks so much for joining today.